Today we've got a great video in store, walking through a simple strategy everyone should follow on how to build wealth. It's amazing how easy this is to do, yet so few people do it. Following this strategy will guarantee that you invest your money correctly throughout your lifetime and truly get it to work for you. It's important to remind ourselves that long-term strategic investing really is the way to build wealth. After all, as Warren Buffett says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Today, we'll share a strategy that will do exactly that, and we'll give you some real-life examples to help envisage how you can do this in your own investment choices. If you're enjoying the content I'm putting out, then smash the like button, I'd really appreciate it. If you're new here, then welcome to the channel. If you're looking for videos that focus on personal finance, investing in the stock market, and much more, then definitely subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of new uploads. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. So looking at the title of this video, you'll probably be wondering, what is the OPM strategy? This is known as the Other People's Money strategy and is explained in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. A book that I would highly recommend for any investor starting out. If you haven't already, it is a must-read for anyone wanting to learn about investing and building wealth. So how does this strategy work? Let's take a real-life example and imagine that you want to buy a car. The car itself is a liability, meaning that rather than generate you money over time, it takes money out of your pocket. Owning one is a liability on your finances. A car won't generate you wealth because it is a liability. Let's say the car is worth £100,000. It's a nice car, and you're a bit of an enthusiast. You like the finer things in life, don't we all? So you've saved up for a long time, and you finally amassed the £100,000 you've been waiting for to buy your car. Here's what most people would do. They would bite the bullet and go out and buy that car outright. You've taken your hard-earned cash, an asset, and you've sunk it all into a fast depreciating liability. The second you drive that car out of the showroom, it falls by 30% in value. Congratulations, you're now worth £30,000 less instantly because you like to go places faster. Now you might say, this doesn't sound like a good strategy at all. Why would anyone do this? And you're absolutely right. It isn't. But this is what most people do. This doesn't help you build wealth at all, and in fact, it massively hinders it. Most people don't try to be wealthy. They are simply content with appearing wealthy. And here on Wise Wealth, we are not about that at all. So let's talk about how we build wealth. And fortunately, here's where the OPM strategy comes in. Remember that car you wanted? Well, you'll be pleased to hear that you can still have it. But you're going to need to do something first. Instead of buying that car directly for £100,000, invest that capital into an income-generating asset. This could be anything from real estate, shares, funds, peer-to-peer lending, bonds, anything that will make money for you. Have that income-generating asset work for you over time. By doing this, somebody else is making money for you, even when you're asleep. Remember what Warren Buffett said? You're no longer trading your time to make money. As you're probably already aware, this is otherwise known as passive income. Now you can use the money from your income-generating asset to pay for your liability, in this case, the car. Let's say you invest that £100,000 into a buy-to-let property. To get it to cash flow healthily, you'll probably want to take out an interest-only mortgage. But that's a discussion for a whole other video. You found a tenant, they've moved in, and they're now paying you a monthly rent for living in your property. By taking that monthly income you get from the house, the asset, you can now use that income to fund the lease of your car, the liability. You may have to physically pay the monthly fees, but you're using other people's money to do this. The OPM strategy. The money comes in and flows straight back out as an expense. You've purchased a liability in the car, but you're not having to pay for it. your tenant is. The car will depreciate over time. You might hand it back or trade it in for an upgrade years down the line. But this whole time, you've not had to fork out of your own wallet to do any of this. Instead, you're using other people's money. The best part of this process is that if you ever decide you don't want the car anymore, or maybe you want something a bit more practical and perhaps less expensive than your V10 500 horsepower monster, you can reduce the cost of your liability, but your asset will still be generating you a steady stream of passive income, regardless of what car you have. Now, you're even saving money. Look at how this scenario has transformed from instantly being £30,000 less wealthy the second you drove out that dealership with the car to now, not having to pay for your liability, but still have an income after you no longer have use of it. Not only this, but the asset you invested in will appreciate over time, giving you appreciation on your invested capital. You're making money passively, while at the same time growing your net worth. This concept of buying assets to buy liabilities should transform the way you look at investing and where you spend your money. Now you might think, what can you do with that money I'm now making off my asset? Whatever you want. Save for a rainy day, go on holiday, reinvest it to make more passive income, whatever you want. This is just an example of how you can use assets to buy liabilities. The principle itself is something you can adopt for many other buying purchases. I'm a firm believer that investing and building wealth shouldn't always be about cost cutting, penny pinching, and spending as little as possible. You should still be able to enjoy the things you want in life, but there is a way to do this. Investing in assets to buy liabilities will allow you to achieve this. Now, how much you yield from an investment of £100,000 depends on what you invest in. For example, if I went down the route of buying property as my asset, I probably wouldn't look to buy in London where I live, since rental yields are low in comparison to other places in the UK. Plus, I probably wouldn't get much for that deposit. Instead, I'd look to invest in Liverpool or Manchester, big cities in their own rights with much cheaper property and attractive yields of 7 to 8%. Investing in startups versus FTSE 100 companies may return higher yields as well, but there is much more risk associated with this. The risk-reward payoff of what you invest in is dependent on your ability and willingness to take on risk. Not only is real estate a great investment in general, but tenants most often pay monthly. So, if you're trying to finance a liability like a car on a monthly basis, you'd ideally want to find a source of income that equals this payout frequency. You could still have an equity that pays biannually to fund this, but you'd probably find that the funds are sat in your bank account for a long period of time. You may not want to have them sitting there in case you get tempted to use them for something else. In any case, it's still a possibility. I'd probably recommend a buy-to-let property that pays monthly, or even a monthly paying ETF or equity. This, however, isn't the end of the OPM strategy. Now, this is more of an advanced technique, and I would recommend this for a more experienced investor. But once again, a prime example of how you can do this is through real estate. Many people have built wealth by purchasing real estate without having to invest any of their own money. You might ask, how can you even do this? Well, instead of investing all the money themselves, they have a backer or investor source the funds to buy the property. These investors allow the purchaser, you, to handle all of the technicalities, managing the property, tenants, and anything related to the day-to-day operational management of the asset. In return, the investor will receive a return on the asset or have the loan paid off with interest. They are known as the limited partners, the backseat investor that is content on making a consistent return on their investment while you, the general partner, puts in the hard work and effort of personally managing the asset to to make sure it's well maintained and its returns are maximized. This is less passive, as you have to put in the work to make sure the asset is generating a return, but you're still making money and building wealth through the OPM strategy. So there you have it, the OPM strategy. Buying liabilities through investing in assets using other people's money. Let me know in the comments below if you've used this strategy before, or if you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. What did you take away from it? If you've learned something useful in this video, hit the like button to let me know. Subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed the content so far, and if you're new here, feel free to check out my other videos on investing and personal finance. I'll leave a link in the video description below, or click on the top right hand corner to see some of my other content. Thanks again, have a great weekend, and until next time, see ya.